Branding is the process to influence your brand, but you actually don't have control over your brand. Your branding is what you say about you. Your brand is what they say about you. Brand done at the right time can be the strategic amplifier and the missing link to really accelerate your results. So we help people architect their 8-figure business. Ultimately, people think they need to build an 8-figure business to accomplish the freedom that they desire, but oftentimes they're much closer to what they actually want than they think they are.
Hey everyone, it's Tamara Thompson with Broadcast Your Authority, and I'm here with my co-host Danielle Thompson.
Hey everybody.
And we're super excited for our next guest, Michael Hunter. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're based out here in Arizona as well, correct?
Yep, right in Scottsdale.
Yeah. Well, I love this. So you actually have a couple of great companies that actually kind of coincide together. So you have personalbrand.com and Spiffy Checkouts, and you've got a great track record behind you too. We actually realized that we connected in person back at I think 2019. I think when I spoke at TNC, it was back at Pete Vargas's charity yacht party, I believe, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. And our buddy Kyle Gray reconnected us. So thank you again for being here. So
yeah, thanks so much for having me.
So tell us first off, so both of your companies that you have the success right now, you work with a lot of our audience. So speakers, authors, probably coaches, entrepreneurs on that side. Tell us first off, I guess we'll go with the personalbrand.com side of it. How do you help entrepreneurs on that brand?
So growing a personal brand in 2025 is much different than it was even 5 years ago, but especially 10 years ago when a lot of the gurus that we listen to today got started. And so one of the biggest challenges that we see in common threads across a lot of our clients is that they're implementing what those gurus are doing today. They're not focused on how they got started. And we've codified building a thought leader or personal brand business into 4 distinct stages. And what we found is that people are often trying to implement stage 4 strategies when they're at stage 1, 2, or 3. And so
could you dive in a little bit more about, if you're open to it, is a little bit context of what those 4 stages are?
Yeah. So the first stage is what we call calling. It's when you have this deep burning passion and desire.
You're I feel called to do this.
Yeah, I have a calling. I want to help. You typically you have a day job. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make following kind of traditional mainstream advice is burn the boats. If you have a plan B, you don't really have a plan A, and all these different things.
Book.
Right. Yeah. And again, there's a value in that energy or that intentionality. But one of the biggest mistakes is people try to go all in before they've actually gotten recognize where their opportunity lies. Opportunity is stage 2. So you have calling, you have opportunity, and then you have traction, and then you have scale. And so this is where when people have that calling and they're trying to implement strategies at the scale stage, there's a disconnect. There's an overwhelm because when you're at scale, you have team to implement the strategy.
Have you seen individuals get stuck at one of the phases more than others, or different stages? They get stuck at this stage more than another?
Yeah, it's at that opportunity stage to go to traction. Because when you are at the opportunity stage, stage 2, it's when you've tried a lot of different things and you have a lot of different things that work, but oftentimes you don't really know what works or why it works. And so we use the analogy of someone juggling a lot of different plates, or they feel like they're putting forth a lot of effort. They're in motion, but they don't have momentum. And that's a place where you can hustle, grind, grit your way to high 6 figures, even 7 figures, but you can't hustle your way to 8 figures. And so that's really where our services, our consulting, our high-end done-for-you services are designed to help shift that gear. Because even if you don't have the ambition to build an 8-figure business, there's so much freedom and comfort and certainty running a 6-figure business with an 8-figure business model. Where if you're running a 6-figure business, multi-6-figure business on a 5-figure business model, that's where the stress, the overwhelm, the chaos, the frustration, the burnout comes from. So we help people architect their 8-figure business. Ultimately, people think they need to build an 8-figure business to accomplish the freedom that they desire, but oftentimes they're much closer to what they actually want than they think they are.
For those that come and work with you on the personalbrand.com side of it, are they primarily entrepreneurs, authors, speakers that either A, have launched and grown their own business that's not the personal brand side of it, and they're now looking to shift or add to it on a personal branding side? Or are these strongly just individuals that kind of gone down that speaker track, more of like the, not necessarily solopreneur, maybe they're coaches, influencers on that side of it, and then this is going to be their next level business, or is it like, this is my next step from building this SaaS company, or things like that? Who primarily comes to work with you?
Yeah, so it's usually someone who has already gotten traction in one area. Okay. So they've gotten the speaking piece really dialed in.
Some sort of niche, they've got that down.
Or they have a book that's really crushing it. Or they have a high-ticket coaching program that's really crushing it. But typically, their efforts are tied to their income, and we help them break that tie. So most of our clients are quite successful before they get to us, and this is where the power of brand done at the appropriate time comes into play.
Makes sense.
We talk about branding and relate it to a salesman. When you think of sales, you think of what, like a car salesman, right? Like the lowest trained, the most desperate, commission breath all over you. But when you're in the presence of a highly trained salesperson, you don't even know you're in that conversation. And so same thing with brand. When you do it too early, most people, when you even say the word brand or branding, they immediately tune out. And it's because most of their experience is doing brand exercises way too early in the life cycle of their business, where it is fluffy, it isn't valuable, it doesn't move the needle. But brand done at the right time can be the strategic amplifier and the missing link to really accelerate your results. So that's what we help our clients do.
And when we're talking about personal branding, are we talking about like websites? Or are we talking about like all the content across social media? Or like what else? Like what are you doing for the clients exactly?
That's a really great question. If you ask 10 different people what branding is or what personal brand is, you get 10 different answers. And so that's one of my big missions, is really communicating the difference between branding, and content marketing. So a lot of people conflate brand and branding. They think they're the same thing, and they're not. And a lot of people conflate branding with content marketing, and they think they're the same thing, and they're not. All of them are very related. They're very synergistic. You need all of them, but it's very important to understand those three terms, how they're different and how they can all work together. So brand and branding. Branding is the process to influence your brand, but you actually don't have control over your brand. Your branding is what you say about you. Your brand is what they say about you, your customers. And so when you do branding correctly and you craft concise, powerful, and memorable language to communicate who you are, who you help, and how you can help them, so that's memorable and repeatable, that's when your branding can equal your brand. When it comes to content marketing, that's like the extension of your messaging. That's the social media and all those different aspects.
We know that part really well.
And that part's very important. And so most people, when they think of branding, it's just the surface layer of the business, the aesthetics, the logo, the color schemes, all those are branding. But brand is something that drives a much more deep strategic imperative throughout the entire organization. And most of our clients feel the pain of the lack of brand when they usually have 5 to 10 team members. When they can delegate tasks, but their team still depends on them to make decisions. So when brand is done correctly, it accelerates the business and it also streamlines the internal processes because it gives people a frame to make decisions that are in alignment with where your business is going.
Totally. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good thing to point that out, though, between brand and branding, because I've seen people misconstrue that several times. And like you said, content marketing, we focus on doing content marketing with the focus around podcast being the medium, of course. But there's SEO, you got websites, you got everything under the sun with that side of it. But you were also, right before this, you were talking a little bit about sales. And one of the other things that you focus on with your other company, Spiffy Checkouts, is more of an integration system. You of course know this more than I do. I'd love to know a little bit more about what you actually do with that side and how it actually integrates with what you do with the personalbrand.com.
Yeah, so Spiffy was actually born out of our growth marketing agency back in the day. We were doing big 7-figure product launches for all of the big names in the industry. Pete Vargas was how we got introduced. So we did Pete's first $1 million launch, ran the tech and built the pages and helped with the copy. And, there's other people involved in that process as well. But that's just one fun touch point. And I was Brendan Burchard's CMO for 2 full years between 2015 and 2017. And before that, worked with other names, household names. And how we got all those clients was getting known for optimizing the checkout process. And we had a service where we were custom coding checkout processes and one-click upsells and logic-based one-click upsells that depending on how they interacted with it, they saw a different offer. So we just basically productize our productized service. So step one, for agencies, productize your services, but then find creative ways where you can turn your productized services into a software. And so we built Spiffy into the go-to checkout platform for authors, speakers, coaches, thought leaders, especially those that have subscriptions as a key revenue source in their business. So that's kind of the genesis behind it.
So it's basically the checkout process, but is it integrate with other things like CRMs, or is it an encompassing CRM itself, like the funnels, the pages, checkouts? Is it purely just a checkout part of the process?
Yeah, it's just a checkout. Okay. So what we found is that most clients, they get started with an all-in-one solution. High Level is really popular now. Kajabi is great. And once you get traction, those tools have small nuances where you need to actually build your own tech stack. Okay. And that's not something you need to do when you first get started. But once you start getting traction, you're in the multiple six figures, that's when adding a tool like Spiffy to your existing tech stack. We plug into High Level, HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, ConvertKit, all these different tools. So whatever tool that you are using, we have either a direct integration with those tools, like all the ones I mentioned, including Circle for communities and Kajabi for courses. And you also have Zapier as an option that connects with anything that's may or may not be mainstream.
I'm curious, what was the most successful funnel checkout process that you've seen for a client, if you're open to sharing like a result that you've had through using, of course, Spiffy and integrating everything that you've done so far?
To really provide insight and perspective on the checkout experience, it's understanding upsell flows and just having upsells. You'd be surprised. Like it sounds like pretty basic. Mm-hmm. We can see all of our customers and what percentage of them actually have an upsell offer in their funnel. Mm-hmm. Like it's
and the conversion rate.
Well, I mean, just even having something there, it's so important. You need to be leveraging upsells. It is the best time to get an offer in front of a prospect is when they're already excited to work with you. And it's not about just getting any willy-nilly offer. One really awesome tip and tactic for just your first upsell. One, you don't need to create anything. You can just upsell a one-on-one VIP call and charge 5 times what you're normally charging. Just have something there. Someone will take it and message it so that it's the accelerator to get the result faster of the course they just purchased or the event ticket they just purchased or whatever it is.
Primarily to lower ticket prices. So let's say like individuals, so we use Go High Level, going through different processes too, but a lot of our stuff goes through sales conversations, discovery calls, because we have high-end offers that lead to certain things. So we can, add in those upsells. They'll usually are conversations. But our ticket prices are typically high ticket already. So what do you see based on like a high ticket offer and then high ticket upsell? Have you seen that used in the process, or is it primarily more for like lower, like hundreds, maybe $1,000, offer, things like that?
Yeah, there's really no one size fits all answer, which is where this gets a little bit tricky. Typically on a super high end offer, having upsells isn't the best. I'm assuming it's something that's $5K, $10K, $15K,
it's
$20K.
Usually more like conversation based, which they're like, oh, I'm in, because you're able to, to sell it with the experience model or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and also if you spend $25K to a mastermind, all of a sudden there's an upsell to something. I was like, why wasn't that just included in what I just purchased?
I know, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I'm sure the majority of the clients there have like courses or programs or like maybe like group coaching programs or things like that. So
and the key with upsells is to have something that's related to what they just purchased. That's the biggest mistake we see people make is that they have 3 courses on 3 different topics and they just slap it into an upsell flow. The importance of having a checkout experience using checkout pages is you know exactly what they're buying. On Shopify, if you're like an e-commerce store, you don't know what combination of products they're buying. So having a dedicated checkout page where you're selling either a consulting package, your retainer services, a membership, a mastermind, a course, a consulting call, like you know exactly what they purchased, so you can tailor an offer knowing exactly what they just bought and explaining why that upsell is going to help them get results faster. And that is a very small but very, very important nuance that will absolutely crush for an upsell offer.
Do a lot of your clients have pixels on their landing pages, or they're retargeting those people? Like even like the upsell pages, like they could do retargeting ads for the upsells. Like,
yep,
I love that. They follow you around the internet. So.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we target people on the upsell offer. The biggest piece of real estate that is under leverage is the thank you page. That's a great place to put a call with us offer to get on the phone with a sales rep or a setter or something like that.
Kind of leads into more of that higher end upsell versus like having a checkout. Here's the upgrade on that side. Yeah. What drives you for what you do? Like why are you so passionate about these companies?
Oh, that's a great question. Trying to give a concise answer here. When I was 17, I got introduced to my first professional development motivational speaker conference
like
thing.
Self-development.
Yeah, it was through a sales angle. It was direct sales. I performed well. I qualified for the regional training, and I got my first introduction to the impact that you can have speaking from stage. I was 17. And I was like, I want to do that someday. I heard that
it's a good age to jump in there.
Yeah.
Get in early.
I heard that being a public speaker was the highest paid profession in the world. And then, got introduced to Tony Robbins. Like, man, you have the impact and you have the income. Like, that's really
and
cool.
The height.
Yeah, exactly. That too. And then I also heard that people would rather keel over than speak on stage. Like people are afraid of public speaking.
And
so I was like, okay, most people don't want to do this. You can have a big impact and you can have a wonderful income and lifestyle. I don't care if it takes me 5 months, 5 years, or 50 years. I want to do this with my life. But I'm 18 at the time, 17 at the time. Like no one's going to listen to me about anything. And so a couple of years later, still felt the calling. And I'm like, okay, what is the skill set I need to learn to do this someday? And it was marketing. So I'm going to start a marketing company and I'm going to have people pay me to learn how to do this for them. And so first I took anyone and everyone that was willing to pay me. Then I niched down to authors, speakers, coaches, thought leaders, personal brands. And so it was just very strategic about putting the reps in, knowing the skill set, knowing the players, building relationships. And so it's a very long tail way of, long-term strategy to get to where I'm at today. But it's just been something that's been a deep passion of mine forever. And nothing lights me up more than sparking and inspiring entrepreneurship. And I just happen to do that with personal brand and Spiffy Checkouts today.
I love that. Yeah, no, it really is all about building those relationships with people, being able to connect with people from the stage, in person, podcast, whatever it is on that side. And so that's what I love is just like connecting the dots with individuals through podcasting and sharing their message too. And Danielle also loves that piece of it. You said you do like workshops and stuff like that. Is there certain things that you have coming up or ways that people like can work with you on things like that? Is it workshops for your clients or is it something that you actually utilize for like an audience like ours to come in and learn from you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So up until this year, our services have been reserved for people that are already doing 7 figures, already successful, and just helping them shift that gear to have more impact and hit that next level. And so these workshops are a way for us to add value, perspective, and insight to help accelerate people's results versus just waiting for people to already be successful. And so we host a 3.5-day workshop called Brand and Business Breakthrough. If you go to personalbrand.com, there's an events tab there. You can click on it and see the next one's coming up. We do them in September, January, and May every year. And it is hands down the absolute best live event on the topic of personal brand. We guarantee it. If it's not the best event you've ever been to or ever even heard of on the topic of personal branding, ask for your money back. We'll give you a full refund.
I love that. I love that guarantee on that side. Well, we're definitely going to be able to promote that for you on this show and to our audience. I'd love to help support you in whatever way we can for that side, for both of your companies.
Yeah, we'll get a promo code set up too, give people a little extra discount so that there's no reason to say no.
Are they primarily like home-based, like Scottsdale, or do you host them in different areas, like since you hold them like 3 times a year?
Yeah, we host them 3 times a year here in Scottsdale.
It's always a smart choice.
Yep, exactly. Yep. We strategically place them so you're not here in July or August because no one wants to be here there.
People fly to us. Yeah. But, hey, we've got great weather here though too.
Yeah.
Well, I love this. I appreciate the conversation that we've had today. Could you share with our audience a little bit more about where else they could connect with you, like social media, website, things like that?
Yeah, personalbrand.com is a great way to see the portfolio of our work. You can connect with me directly, Michael R. Hunter, at Michael R. Hunter, across Instagram, LinkedIn, and X are the platforms I'm most active on. So shoot me a message, shoot me a DM, and would love to answer any questions you have.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for joining us today. Truly appreciate you. Anyone that's watching this episode, be sure to check the comments for all the information that he provided. Check out his events, workshops. If you're looking to work on your personal brand, definitely connect with him and his team. Spiffy Checkouts. If you're a speaker, author, or entrepreneur, definitely connect. And we'll see you in the next episode.